Hello, I'm Steve Goad with On the Road with the Business Development Center at ODU as part of the program, where we're helping businesses, Commonwealth of Virginia businesses, to mitigate the impact of COVID. So I have the pleasure of chatting this morning with Miss Yolanda Thomas and Miss Dawn Simmons of, let me get this right, RCG Advisory. Is that correct?
RCG Advisory Group.
On the first try. I am really good. Geez, I got through that. Thank you. RCG Advisory. Well, why don't you introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about the company, what y'all do?
Sure. So, hi, Steve. It's a pleasure to interview with you today with the ODU Business Development Center. My name is Yolanda Thomas. I'm one of the co-founders of RCG Advisory Group, which stands for Risk Compliance Governance Compliance Group, Risk Governance Compliance Advisory Group. So a little bit about myself. I'm a Portsmouth, Virginia native, born and raised in Portsmouth. So I'm from the Hampton Roads area, went to school at University of Virginia, where I graduated with a degree in chemical engineering. And that degree, a process-oriented degree, really is what got me on the pathway to risk management and process design, regulatory compliance, working in several highly regulated industries, including the nuclear industry with Department of Energy, several private chemical plants doing root cause analysis, following different chemical plant incidents, and also working with Department of Defense, providing risk management, cost benefit analysis for Navy installations across the world. My last foray was with in risk management in financial industry, working with the regional bank. So as a VP at that bank in enterprise risk management. So that's my background. Been over 15 years in risk management, root cause analysis, regulatory compliance in several highly regulated industries. So that's just.
So this is not something you put together like a month ago.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
No, we'll get more into that a little bit. Miss Dawn Simmons.
Hi, and nice to meet you as well, Steve. My name is Dawn Simmons, and I am a co-founder of RCG Advisory Group. And my background, I have a degree in accounting, my bachelor's degree in accounting and my master's degree in project management. And I have over 20 years of experience starting in Intel, and I've worked for Fortune 500 companies as well, providing financial mitigation, also risk and compliance as well, and advisory. And again, I met Yolanda. We both worked at VPs at a local bank here in Hampton Roads. And together we brought both of our backgrounds together in risk and compliance. And here we are with our own.
Well, that's got me going into this as why, okay, you both were in banking.
Yes.
Was it scary? Because here you got a job with banking. I assume that's a fairly, it can get kind of crazy at moments, but probably more than I realized. But I would think it's what I would call like a steady job, really, frankly. It's especially when you're saying you're both from VPs. I mean, you were in there and you moved your way up into the company. Was it scary to make a jump? I mean, here you are, VPs, responsible positions, and you want to start a company, and let alone a company in risk management. And I want to talk about that. But was that a little scary, or were you, how did you? I mean, that's a hard decision. I think that'd be a difficult decision.
Well, for me, I'll go first. It wasn't a hard decision. Throughout the years, positions that I were in before I became a VP had allowed me to grow in the industry. I've also provided consulting for other companies in risk and finance as well. So supporting those Intel industries, DoD, as well as banking, had allowed me to already have the confidence and the knowledge of what I needed to gain in order to branch out. So it was always in the cards to start my own consulting firm.
Mhm.
And I'll say for me, same for Dawn. I think it was kind of like, perfect timing. So the fear that, you normally might consider when you're leaving such a, as you described as Steve, a steady, well-paying, well-respected position. It wasn't completely there because I think what's unique about Dawn and I, we have both, like she just mentioned, we both had our kind of entrepreneurial mindsets. So when the two of us connected, it was like we were both brought to that position to meet each other. Our strengths and our weaknesses just mesh so well together. What I'm weak in, she's strong in. What she's weak in, I'm stronger in. And so you don't get that type of just synergy all the time. So I think that meeting Dawn, meeting the right business partner was key in it not being as fearful, knowing 100% that this is the person, this is the right business partner, which I want to really hone in on. Having the right business partner really, alleviate some of the risk or mitigate some of the risk in risk terms into being able to overcome that fear or not be fearful at all. Like I just had no doubt like that the two of us, our backgrounds, our knowledge, just our professional experience was the right move to move forward with this company. So
So it's like, I won't say destiny, but it's just like something, it's that, and I've had that where you get this spark. This is a great group that, you can bounce ideas off. It just feels right, kind of thing.
absolutely.
But I
Yeah.
picked up on Miss Simmons. You had actually had done, even though as a VP, you'd done some consulting.
Yes.
We both
And
have, yep.
both have.
Mhm.
So you didn't quite leave your jobs right off. So you were doing some consulting still, kind of trying things, or what were you doing, as you went?
Well, no, we actually left. We left to
Okay, then you
pursue
jumped.
our right. But I was saying before banking, I've
Oh, okay.
consulted with those industries, so that had helped to cultivate my experience as well as network into creating the business.
So this wasn't, you weren't being naive. You've been there. You've been
Right.
there. Look, you've been there.
Yeah, I know what the need
You knew what
is.
to expect.
Right, I know what
Yeah.
to expect exactly.
Why why risk management? That's a, I run into quite a few different businesses, but you're the first one I've run into with risk management. It's not the niche that I would normally think of off the top of my head.
Well, that's good. Look, I'm glad that you don't run into, well, one that tells me if we're in the Hampton Roads area and, we're one of the first risk management companies
I don't
you've
know if
run
you're the first, but you're one of the
into,
first that I've run
right, that you've run into. That means that, maybe we have a good
We're on
part
to
of that
something.
industry. But I can start for me and Dawn can answer. But for me, risk management was something that when I started in risk management, I didn't know that's what I was doing. And that started for me my senior year in college. We were tasked as an engineering student, you have to complete a senior thesis project for the whole year. And there was a accident in a chemical plant in Delaware called Motiva. And I had heard about this accident. We studied it as a case study, but I wanted to know more about like what really happened, what really caused the accident. So on my own, that was my thesis, looking at the role of communication in organizational hierarchies and how that led to a chemical plant incident. It wasn't the design of the process, which we focus on. It wasn't, the chemical reactions. It actually was a communication and training incident. So even as a senior, that part of looking at communication and training and people processes and procedures, that actually is risk management. I didn't know at the time that's what I was doing. So mine is just a curiosity for its processes and how they work, but also how how people that are actually carrying out the processes, how they think. And so it's just from a curiosity standpoint that I got into risk management, that turned into me actually consulting for a well-known risk consulting company in DC. They're based out of Texas, but with their DC office. And it just, to me, risk management, you're always questioning the process and you're questioning how people respond or perform the process. And to me, that meshes the best of both worlds, people and processes. And so for me, that was my entire interest in risk
No,
management.
well, Ms. Simmons comment, but the curiosity is so risk management is literally, I think, what do? You go in and you look at the processes in a company.
We look at the
And
process.
I assume that you mentioned government, there are regulated,
That's
they must
correct.
do this. They must have a file cabinet set up in such a way. I spent some time in the Air Force years ago, literally folder 1 and folder 2 would, I mean, on the side of the cabinet, it told you exactly what was going to be in that folder. It was amazing. And so it was highly regulated. That's an example. I don't know if it still is, but highly regulated. But I assume that it's also, you look at a process review of how people are talking, communicating, or.
Well, I'll break it down like this. It's like a process because it's two different things. You mentioned compliance, which is more Dawn's piece, and then risk. So for risk, you're looking at a process or you're looking at how people perform something. I'll just say a process. And along that process, where are the vulnerabilities? I hate to get into this type of tech, but where are the vulnerabilities? Where can the breaks in the process occur? Where can a bad actor come into that process? Or in the terms of banking, where can fraud occur? Where can, it be some type of financial impact to the organization or some type of reputational impact? So we're looking at different different spaces along that process of where risk or something bad, a bad event can occur. And I always like to use the example of like you're driving a car, right? Every day when we drive our cars, we're constantly managing risk. So when you drive your car, you wear your seatbelt because in case you get in an accident, you have something to control or mitigate the result of injury by wearing your seatbelt. Or you follow certain driving laws by going the speed limit to mitigate risk of, a bad accident or accident occurring. So in our everyday life, we're constantly calculating or naturally calculating and taking risk. And then we're constantly putting controls or what we call mitigating controls in place to control that risk. So we're looking at it.
What's the size of the company you would ideally, is this something that a smaller startup needs to know, or is it a medium or a large, or
everyone?
Everyone.
Yes.
Everyone. So an example, I've got a small startup company. What would be the most common thing you run into startups don't do?
Making sure your paperwork is in order. It's
And what do you mean by
number one.
paperwork? What kind of paperwork?
Well, making sure that from a financial standpoint, I would say making sure that your business structure is set up, your accounting processes are set up, HR procedures, all of the things that you would need to be in compliance. So you would need to understand what your local and state and federal regulations are within that industry that you're in, and making sure that you're compliant. And a lot of times people are excited and they know how to go online and apply for an EIN and create a business, but they don't have the business model and processes in place. And my background has always been, I've come into spaces where they literally had nothing, like nothing.
Now they had
Uh,
there's the $1 on the wall that they sold the first sale.
Exactly,
And
exactly.
I love
So
that. I'm
it's
not making light of
yeah.
that, but
Oh yeah,
that's
I
kind of
love it
cool. But
too.
that's all they have. You know?
Right, right. So I'm used to coming into those spaces and helping to build framework works, processes, implementing systems as well, because I have a background as a project manager in implementing systems as well, and just building it from the ground up. And it may just be even SOP, standard operating procedures,
Mhm.
and making sure that those are in line with the business practice. So it's a lot. It's not a
So
just
I'm assuming that it's important for any business, even when you're starting up. But as a business grows and it starts generating revenue, it's not the whole. It becomes very, very, very important to make sure you've got everything going with that. Question. The question is, what you founded the company? When was that? When did you get started as a company?
So we technically founded the company. It was we technically registered our, with the state September 2021, but we didn't technically kick off until this year, so 2022. So
What has gone? But you do have all this background working, so it's not like that. You
that's
just
correct.
cut the ribbon and you're just
That's
trying to
correct.
figure it out still. But so there's all this background, all this experience in working with companies. What has so far gone well for you?
I
Dawn,
would
you want
say
to
that what's
answer?
gone well for us so far is relationships that we have built, both definitely professional relationships in the industry. I believe even as a person working for a company or as a consultant, you may be working for the company, but you're your own brand and you establish that brand and people know you. So even if I left a company, I've never left on a bad term. It was always to elevate within my career, and I've kept in contact with all previous employers and bosses that I've had in the past. And first reaching out and utilizing those point of contacts to see if there's a need, and it is. So definitely, if you've already been in these spaces, reaching out to previous companies that you supported or maybe assisted them in their efforts to grow is definitely key. So even though you may step out, starting your own business, just keep in mind along the way, you've always been your own brand and people know you and know what you bring to the table and what you have accomplished on any project that you've supported or any organization that you've supported. So just reaching out and letting people know that we started this company. It's always already been, well, why didn't you do it sooner? We already knew that, you had that in you. Why didn't you just do it sooner? So again, I
But
think
that's you hire a salesperson. That'd be
right, but that's why I
Yeah,
said it's
I
not
just had
that.
a survey. I'm going after it.
Right. And again, with meeting Yolanda, she's had businesses in the past. I have as well. And when you say destiny, I would say it was destiny that we met each other, because people come into your life for a reason. And her and I meeting each other in those spaces, and learning together and growing together and being on these projects together has really elevated our relationship to say, you know what, we could do this. We could partner together.
So in other words, you don't, as they say, don't burn bridges behind you. But if you do have to burn a bridge, be very conscious that there's
Absolutely.
got to be a
Yeah,
good reason that you never burn.
Absolutely.
right.
But,
Don't,
but
yeah, it's not worth it in
so,
the end.
yeah,
If
well,
you're
Absolutely.
if
yeah,
you're
be re-
elevating your career in those defined spaces, because what I've learned is the world may be large, but if you're in a small industry, somebody knows somebody that knows of you.
and that is really, it's amazing, especially now with Zoom and all that, we used to, it would be the normal, the city, the town, that's all you had to worry about. Now we're in such a, with the Zoom, we're a global. It's amazing how things spread, just
Mhm.
people
Right.
know somebody and that.
Uh-huh.
Have we been able, the Business Development Center, have we been able to help you a little bit along the way somewhere? It's a
A
shameless
little
plug.
bit.
I say that on every interview.
Listen, I'm gonna say that I recently, I'm a member of the school board too, Portsmouth City School Board, and I had recently had a conversation with another school board member, mentioning the ODU Business Development Center and just the amount of programming and just webinars and informational sessions and one-on-one consulting that's available. And you all have been such a huge, huge help in, helping us get over certain, I want to call them mind blocks, where you know where you need to go, but you're not 100% certain, or especially when you're starting in that government contracting lane, and just kind of getting that extra boost, like, yes, you're on the right track. Okay, yes, you all need to get this certification, go get your SWAM certification, go listen to this women business, what is it, WB, what
Yeah,
is it?
what is Business Center? Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I
like,
can't even keep track
yes,
of
keep all the
B
acronyms
Block, the
straight.
Business Center, the
But
BDC.
it's like that extra guide that's holding your hand. You talked about fear a lot, and although Dawn and I, we don't have that normal, startup fear, we're walking into some unknown spaces that her and I have not done. So having the ODU Business Development Center as a, hey, is this how we should do this? Or do you know someone in this area? Just, even the conversation with you, Steve, like, the network, the contacts, the information, the grants, like, it's there is no reason to fail with that type of resource behind you. Like, I know businesses can fail, but this is like an extra added, again, mitigating factor
And
to
I assume the
potential risk.
price of zero is
Yes.
is a good,
Yes. So I have
you're
to,
getting value out of your.
right, you're getting value. And I had to tell one of my school board members about it, because not only for me and Dawn and our business, but just having that resource, telling our seniors in high school about it, that, a lot of them, this is a new age, they want to be entrepreneurs. The information is out there. We might not have all the entrepreneur courses in our school district, but there's a resource center that, we can provide our students. So just even outside of how you work with our business so far, just spreading that word to even, the graduating seniors or the juniors or the future entrepreneurs of the world, like, it's a great, great resource.
Well, again, thank you for that shameless promotion. No, I really very appreciate that. Now, here's the hard question. Hard questions. If you had to do it all over again, what would you have done differently?
I would say, as I mentioned before, not differently, but just I wish we would have started sooner.
Okay. And that is as I say, you got to let it go. You got to
Right.
let it.
So that's why I said, even though, yes, we were VPs at a bank,
Now,
I've been there.
I haven't let go of paying as much as I did, as I've shared with you, paying for a logo and a legal release statement. So, I haven't let that go. I still need to let that go. I really need to
Yeah,
let that go.
right.
That's over
Sometimes you
11
just
years
have
ago.
to
And I
just
haven't.
let it go. Right.
I would say, I want to add on to that. I agree with Dawn. I definitely think that, starting sooner, a lot of times in certain spaces, like we're working in highly regulated industries, and, getting your name out there, getting your brand out there, has a great impact on, just getting the contracts. I would also say, I want to add something that Dawn made me think of earlier. If we had to do it over again, what would we do differently? She touched on this, but that is reaching out to our prior contacts earlier. We both had great industry reputations. Like she said, every single place with our long history, professional history, we've always left on good terms, and we both have built great relationships. And it wasn't until recently that we started reaching back to those old contacts, our old jobs, our old consulting firms, and they're like, oh, we want to work with y'all. Like, so that just
No, that's
knowing
really
that it's okay, you didn't have to, knock down doors on your own. The relationships, people want to help you, people want to work with you, especially when you have a great personal brand. So I do, I would
and,
wish we did that
and
earlier.
the other question, well, I got two more questions. Kind of a question is, I understand that that you're helping all sorts of different businesses, government, commercial. You're also now looking at the hemp industry. I mean, the commercial hemp and the other portion of it. And again, I'm not getting into the debate if it's good, bad, or whatever, but that's an interesting, in the Commonwealth of Virginia, that is an industry, and it's all of its different facets, is an emerging industry. People are looking at it. I understand that you're looking at maybe working with some companies in that arena.
Absolutely. And so like you mentioned hemp, which is one of the areas we're looking into, as well as the upcoming um, medical. I don't want to, say it in
The medicinal. Again, we're not making any decision
yes.
on
Um,
whatever.
right.
We're not doing the
The use
politics
or
of that. We're
not,
just
right?
saying the industry as a whole.
Right. Well, I'm going to say that the reason we decided to look into it is because for me, I came from a chemical engineering background. So, a lot of chemical engineers go into working with pharmaceutical companies, your Pfizer's, your Merck's. That's where a lot of chemical engineers, when you graduate, you go into pharmaceuticals. And so that's highly regulated. And I expect my personal belief is that anything that we consume should have some regulatory compliance behind it. And if Dawn and I can, help create those regulations in states where it's coming into legalization, or help companies, hemp companies that are already, in process, or already growers or producers, manufacturers, if we can help them provide a quality product safely, provide safe processes, help them with their, just overall infrastructure, change management, training as they grow, because it's a huge industry, then I feel like you want that type of expertise coming into the industry. It's going to be here, but you need some controls, you need some compliance. Anything that people consume, you want to make sure it's safe. Anyone that's working in these spaces, you want to make sure they're safe. So that's why we started looking into those industries.
Yeah, but also that includes not only called the hemp industry, but also I would assume it's medical appliance, medicinals,
That's correct.
health supplements.
That's
So
correct.
you can use the old Southern y'all. Sorry, but that is something as a resource that someone that's interested in as supplements. There are all sorts of supplements, people going out to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do, and you could help them in that regard, because that's an interesting industry to get into.
Absolutely.
Well, if someone wanted to chat with you, follow up with you, how would they contact you? How could they contact you?
Dawn, you want to give out that information then? So you can
Sure.
The lateral.
Well, we'll just give out the info at RCG Advisory Group.com.
And you have a website out there?
We do.
And yes,
Yes.
we do. It's
Yes.
www.rcgadvisorygroup.com.
And don't worry, people, what I'll do is I'll somewhere below here, somewhere, depends on who's how the screen works. It's either below Don or Ms. Thomas, or I'll put that. I'll actually put that over for you. But again,
Okay.
thank you so much for this opportunity to chat with you.
Thank
And I wish
you.
you the best of
Thank you.
success. And again, it's Steve Go with On the Road with the Business Development Center at ODU.
Thank you, Steve.
All right. Thank
Okay,
you.
bye-bye.
Bye.